In conclusion, people with CF are doing well. In some countries better than in other countries, but compared to 30 years ago, they are doing very, very well. They reach adulthood now. And the adolescents, especially the adolescents, they need guidance in handling the disease. And the parents should help them, but the CF center as well should be there to help them. So, thank you very much.
Burada da eğitim birimleriyle ilgili kendisi çalışıyor. Ve hastaların organizasyonu ile ilgili 15 yıldır değerli çalışmaları var. Ve aynı zamanda çocuklarımızın psikolojisi ve aynı zamanda iş başvuruları ile ilgili çok önemli bir alanda hastalara destek veriyor. Belki bu salonu en çok ilgilendiren bir konu olarak kistik fibrozisli hastaların
That's interesting to have it translated. Thank you for inviting me. You can hear me like this? Yeah. Well, it's going to be translated anyway. Thank you for inviting me. I thought I heard you say I'm president of CF Europe. I'm vice president. So I need to be sure about that. Thank you. Can I just ask you a question first? How many of you are a CF parent? Oh, there you are. Okay. I just wanted to know and contact you and know how many of you there are. Welcome. Let me see, am I doing this right? Yes. What I wanted to do here in this presentation is not focus on CF, not focus on the child, but focus on you as a CF parent. I have a, sorry? Speak louder. I think I have to, I'm a bit tall, so I have to do this, okay? I will talk to you and about you as a CF parent. My son, who has CF, is 17 years now, and thinking back of all the things that happened to me and to loads of other parents, it is quite something that is coming into your life. So that is what I want to mention here, and I can only mention a few things because the presentation is far too short to mention a life as it is. But I have picked out a few things that I thought are important and that struck me anyway, so I hope you have some recognition in that way. When we have our child, when we carry a child, we give birth to a child, we become father and mother of a child. And then, all of a sudden, there is cystic fibrosis in our lives. I don't know what happened to you the first thing you heard, but it made me very, I felt a lot of fear. Like, what kind of a disease is it? How am I going to cope with this? Is this child going to be happy? How am I going to raise this child? How often will we be in the hospital, etc., etc.? There are so many questions, and it evokes a lot of fear. And somehow these are feelings that are never discussed that much. You put them away because you have to go on, but it's there. Another thing is your emotion, your intuition. The first time you saw your baby with CF, or it was growing up, and you have this intuition, something is not good. But what is it? Now, I come from Holland. It's a different cultural background, but maybe there are some similarities. Like I was looking for the answers to my questions, and I didn't get them firsthand. It was 17 years ago. CF wasn't that well known, and they said it has to do with this, it has to do with that, we're not sure yet. But my intuition said something's wrong. And I had to learn to trust my own intuition. And that was a big lesson for me. So, fear is an emotion, but altogether there are lots more emotions that are coming up in the whole process that you become involved in when you have a child with cystic fibrosis. Like the grief, the mourning about some loss that you have, you lose some healthy aspects of a child that's lost, and loss means you're grieving. And your expectations have to differ, because you expected a baby, and we all say we hope as soon as everything is going to be all right, I hope it's a healthy baby. That's an expression we have in the Netherlands. And then it's not that healthy anymore, and it will never become healthy, and it will even get worse. So your expectation has to shift the other way around, and that is something that's really hard to do. But there's more new to it. The minute you hear about CF and you learn about treatment and you learn about all different aspects that are becoming very important in dealing with your child, you get access to the medical system. It's something quite new. If you are not used to dealing with the medical system, that is quite new, can be very overwhelming. You have to go to make all kinds of appointments, go to all kinds of tests. How are the doctors and nurses communicating with you? Do you expect them, is it what they do, is that what you expect them to do? Can you talk about it? So it's a whole range of new problems and emotions coming up. And then there's, of course, the upbringing of your child itself. It was already mentioned before. Bringing up a normal child, so to speak, that is healthy, is difficult enough as it is. And now it has a disease that brings all kinds of problems with it, like how is it going to go in school? What do I have to do with medication when it goes to school? How am I going to talk to the child about his disease? When is he going to understand more about the severity of the disease? So that's all kind of questions that come to you as a parent. And then the subject, you and your family. In Holland, where I come from, I noticed there's a lot of parents having a little bit of a problem with addressing the issue of CF in their wider family, like aunts and uncles and nieces and even grandparents. Like, for example, feelings of guilt. It is an inherited disease, and sometimes people really feel guilty that they passed it on to the next generation. And that is something quite difficult to talk about together. And should you inform the rest of the family, because you know it runs into your family, but it's really hard and difficult to say, can I talk to you about when you're having children? We are related, so maybe you can give it to the next generation as well, and how are we going to deal with that? And then there's, of course, the brothers and sisters of the child that has CF. As devoted parents, I think we always want to try to give every child the attention that it needs, and that all children get as much attention, equally divided, and the attention that they need. But because of the disease, and only because of the fact that you have to take it to doctors, you have to take it to the hospital, you have to do the medical treatment at home, that makes that you are giving this child so much more attention, which is good in itself. But the other children can get the feeling, where am I? Where is the attention that I also need? Then the new part of your life will be medication. I remember that when my son was released from the hospital, we got home with an enormous amount of medication. And we thought, well, where are we going to store this? And we took 2 cupboards in the kitchen, took everything out, and put the medication in. And that was quite a historical moment for us. Look at that. We even use cupboards in our own kitchen in order to help this child, in order to deal with cystic fibrosis. Now, food. Food was already mentioned before by the first speaker. I guess all developmental problems, stages that children are going through are the same here in Turkey as they are in Holland. We see that children from the age of 2 are very persistent in they are developing their own identity, and they find out where the identity starts and where it ends by trying to find where the borders are. I say no when I know you don't like me to say no. That's when a child is 2. It's very normal in his development, but we as parents don't like it, and especially not when they have CF, because you are told as a parent, medication is important, his condition is important, and he has to eat extra calories, doesn't he? More extra calories. And then you have this feeling as a parent, I cannot cure this child, I can be good at him, but the food, that is something I have in control. I can make this child eat. Don't you have that feeling? Didn't you ever have that feeling that you were, had the sorry? Sorry?
Every day.
You were just agreeing between Turkey.
Oh, they were agreeing. Okay. So the food is really something you think you are in control. Now I am going to tell you a little story, but I thought I was in control. I thought giving him more calories, that's easy. I can do that. And he felt, I'm growing my identity, and I know when to say no to you. I know that when I say no to food, you don't like it at all. So I'm going to use it. And that's where the eating disorders come from, the eating problems. A lot of children develop these kind of eating problems. And I think it comes from this phase in development from when they are 2 to 3 years and developing their own identity. My son said, no, thank you. And then we tried to be very relaxed, saying, you don't want no food, that's fine with us. We put it away. And then the next dinner would come, we put it in front of him, and he would say, oh, no, I don't like it. And we were sure not to push, because we didn't want to have any conflict that was told to us. And after 2 days, he lost 1 kilo, and he literally refused to eat anything at all. And I was scared, because I thought this was something I had in control, and I didn't. And there was a silent moment in the evening, and I heard him in the kitchen doing something, and I heard his and he had took something out of the closet. It was dog food. I'm sorry, I feel embarrassed to tell you, I'd never expect my child to eat dog food. But this story, this little example shows you how persistent the child can be in this experiencing his own identity. It has nothing to do with food, has nothing to do with CF, but it's his own identity. And then very slowly he got back with eating a banana, eating more and more and more. And now he's 17, and sometimes he comes downstairs and says, Mom, shall I cook for you tonight? So that's great, isn't it? So dealing with food, dealing with the child, need I say more of it? It's the special things that come together with the upbringing of a child with cystic fibrosis, and you as parents have a totally different perspective with it. And I can only advise you that if you need help, if you try to if you want to be the best parent there is, and of course you want to be that best parent, try to recognize that kind of feelings that I was just talking about. Maybe write about it in a diary. Maybe your own patients organization can help you with finding other parents that experience the same things as you do. And really don't be afraid to allow your feelings to be there. I have one other small example, if I have that little time. Then just one little example. When I first heard, the doctor came towards me and my husband and he said, well, I'm sorry to say the diagnosis is cystic fibrosis. I remember that my reaction to it was so much different compared to my husband's reaction. Like, I was the one who wanted to cry and talk about it and look for information and being close with my husband, and my husband was looking out of the window thinking, what's next? And that was really hard. His way, and it's both ways of dealing with it are okay. But the problem is you have to know from each other that your reaction can be so different and talk about it. That is what I would like to say to you. You as a parents are special, so take care for yourself. Thank you.